Hey, it's Carl from carcoart.com and sidehustleartist.com. If you're struggling with procrastination or artist block, or simply not making the ground in your work as an artist, or if you're just generally bummed out by the current state of things, then by the end of this video you'll have a very clear and defined approach to rip away that internal struggle and start getting momentum and consistency as an artist, and perhaps in your life in general. Sometimes you have to go back to go forward, and what I mean is that sometimes that you have to relive yesterday to learn from it so that you can live today and create some hope for tomorrow. And there are folk that will tell you not to live in the past, as the past, it no longer exists, and perhaps people will tell you not to get too caught up in the future, as the future doesn't exist. It only exists in our mind. And I get that. I mean, I've read Eckhart Tolle's Power of Now, so I understand and appreciate the concept of being present. But sometimes there are factors in your life outside of simply creating as an artist that prevent you from doing what you should be doing as an artist, which is often a major contributor to what is referred to as artist block. And from time to time, or for some people it could be a lot more, it can seem as though that you're walking in the wrong direction, and you may not know what the right direction is, but you know for certain that the path that you're walking on is the wrong direction. And there seems to be so many signals every single day that reinforce that belief, and it feels like the wrong path because you cannot seem to get the coloring right in your painting, for example, or maybe the neighbors that are non-stop partying all night, or your son, your daughter, your partner, they don't appreciate you as you think they should. The air conditioning or the heating unit in your home, it's gone on the blink, or the gallery has decided that your art is not what they're looking for and therefore have decided not to represent you. You just attended and exhibited your work for 2 days at a festival and you didn't sell anything. Maybe you've tried many times to stop eating so much and get more exercise, and while it lasts for a couple of weeks, somehow that plan gets ambushed and you're back to your old nasty habits again. Maybe you just missed out on the job that you really wanted, or a client commission that you worked so hard to secure. Maybe someone has left you at a crucial time in your life, and perhaps it always seems to feel like you have to work 10 times harder than everybody else you know just to almost get the same result. And some of these events prompt you to ask yourself, have I made the right decisions in my life? And because if I go by everything that's going on around me, it would seem that I have not. So you start to doubt your own instincts and your own intuition, and this is where it begins to corrupt your ability to create and get anything done, which of course that leads to major procrastination. And if this is you, then begin to picture it like this. Now you may see yourself walking backwards, and now even walking backwards is starting to feel like a real struggle, and there is so much strong resistance. Now picture it like being in a slingshot and you're the person walking backwards into the rubber band, and it gets harder and harder to walk backwards because you're pushing the rubber band to its compression limit, and at some point it won't allow you to walk backwards anymore. And maybe this is very similar to the circumstances of your own life. Maybe it might be worth considering that it just may be life getting you prepared for a new responsibility, that you're about to be propelled towards a new progression that requires the grit and determination that you've been equipped with through your experiences up until right now. And I guess my point is that don't let the adversity erode your identity. See it for what it is, which is nothing more than the next step in your journey. And if I can speak from personal experience, and even this is quite recent, where I have gathered so much momentum in my painting and my artwork, then all of a sudden I was required to take stock of something else in my life. And when you return, you feel the burden of having lost that momentum, and all those gains that you made are no longer there anymore. And you are nowhere near where you were when you left off. But the life event you had to stop for, the very thing that took you away from your craft, was more than likely the catalyst for something else that probably needed to be investigated. And an example of that is with myself having some very big life challenges that threw my own creative focus completely off course. And no matter what I tried, I could not get past the block that was preventing me from being motivated and energized and also focused. And while this may seem a little odd, I went right back to when I was a young kid, drawing and sketching. And as I focused on those moments in more detail, I began to hear the music that used to be playing when I was drawing. And I could hear the band Kiss playing in my memory. So from there, I've dug up old Kiss songs from the 70s and played them. I've visited areas I used to live in my childhood and tried to identify with the raw and wholesome creative drive that existed in that 9-year-old kid. So my point is, sometimes you have to go back to go forward and get back to your foundation, and sometimes get back to your origin. And sometimes you can never fully appreciate or get to where you're going if you cannot completely appreciate where you've been. And if I can offer 5 tips that will help you overcome your adversity and your artist block and get you moving in the right direction and feeling as though that you're on the right path, the first one would be just stop. You have to recognize your own power, and to do that, you have to be still enough to be aware of it. And if you need to get off the treadmill, then do it, because time won't stop for you, won't stand still. And if you are an artist, then absorb yourself into being one and realize that it's an activity where it's totally okay to a certain point to simply lose track of time, because losing track of time can bring you into the present. And if you think about it, there is nothing to be gained and there's nothing to be lost in the present. And because there's nothing to be gained and nothing to be lost in the present, it's very difficult for your mind to exaggerate scenarios that might happen, should happen, or rather did happen. So that kind of subdues the fear. Number 2 would be gratitude and passion. Gratitude and passion will often knock uncertainty on its ass. And uncertainty is what essentially creates fear and anxiety, and that's pretty exhausting. To feel as though you are progressing, you have to find some form of harmony, and if your painting or your photography or your writing is your zone, then pursue it with gusto. Ultimately, your craft is your secret weapon against adversity at any level, because it backs up the belief you have, or rather should have, in yourself. Number 3, it'd be rest without feeling guilty. Sometimes you find ourselves working overtime just to keep up or to overcome and deal with the challenges that life constantly keeps throwing at us. And you've probably heard some people promote and brag about how they work way beyond ridiculous o'clock because they're grinding it out and they're always hustling. Don't succumb to the idea that you have to work until 2 a.m. each night to make it all work. You have to sleep because it makes you more efficient, and you have to rest in order to feel better about yourself, but also feel better about those around you. So don't confuse downtime with laziness. Number 4 is you've got to move. This is real simple. Our body needs movement. So some form of exercise on a regular basis so that you can feel the endorphins release, because when you release endorphins into your body, it helps diminish the perception of pain on many levels. And you don't need to overdo it. You just need to get enough exercise to the point that it raises your energy level up. Number 5 is to connect with the right kind of people. Now, you may have worked in environments such as an employee and you're convinced that 95% of the people were simply not conscious or even awake to life, or you're not working with like-minded people. And this is exhausting because a lot of people are only there as a means to get by, which is okay, but you shouldn't plan to stay there. So get with your merry band of misfits and like-minded people. Look, you don't need to fit in. We were falsely led to believe that we had to fit in as kids, so we had some form of social activity, but you don't have to fit in. It's all bullshit. So you don't need to agonize yourself with that kind of perfection thinking. I really hope those points help you to move in the right direction. And as a friend once said, sometimes when things seem to be falling apart, they are actually, as crazy as it may sound, falling into place. And the universe will honor your commitment and will rally to support you if you are serious about what you're doing. It's just a given. And I hope you got a lot out of this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up below. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down, because that's okay too. Better still, leave a comment in the comment section below and tell me if you got some value out of this video. And please subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon. That way you'll be notified when I have new content available for you to watch. And thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to connecting with you again real soon and helping you to advance your career as an artist. Till next time, your art buddy, Carl.